Hey Finders, welcome back to Fortune Finds. I'm super excited about today's video. I'm going to be comparing two light diffusing technology palettes. If you don't know what light diffusing technology is, it basically takes light and it absorbs, scatters, and diffuses the light across your face to really diminish any fine lines that you may have, any imperfections. It's like if you were looking through a camera and it was a soft focus camera. So it blurs out any harsh lines, any imperfections, giving you like that Snapchat filter effect in real life. The Becca BA Light palette and the Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette. So I have had this one for a really long time. I think I've had it for about over a year. I use it all the time, and as you can see, I am nowhere near pan. This is a pricey palette. I want to say it's about like $60 to $65. I will link everything below like I do in every other video. And then the Becca BA Light palette, I received this complimentary via Influencer and Becca Cosmetics. They sent this to me about a month ago. I have been using this like every other day. It has a blurring powder, a brightening powder, a contour powder, and a blush powder. These powders are so beautiful. They are so finely milled and luminescent, and I thought to myself, wow, this really reminds me of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette, but this is $20 cheaper. Now, I tried to apply these palettes very similar ways, and I did the base of my face exactly the same for each palette. This way, we're really just comparing the powders. We're not comparing any other makeup, so it's a fair and square battle. This is very true to my channel. If you are new here, I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please hit the subscribe button. It means a lot to me, and it does a lot for me. But I do a lot of this versus that. I try a lot of products. I am a product reviewer. Like, I just am so makeup obsessed. Makeup, like, I'm a makeup junkie, like true and true. So I just try a bunch of products, and then I sit down here and I show you guys my findings and tell you all the details that you really need to know about every single product that I tried. It is a this versus that. I'm comparing these two light diffusing palettes, and we're gonna see which one we like the best. I already know, but you guys are gonna find out. I'm going to insert the snippet of me applying the Becca BA Light palette bright and early in the morning. I'm going to show you guys how I applied, and then later on in the video we're going to show you what the palettes look like 12 hours later. So you get like a application and a wear test kind of video in this video. So I worked really hard on this. I've been filming for this all week, so I'm really excited, and I hope you guys like it. So without further ado, let's stop babbling and let's get on to the makeup tutorial. Alright guys, so I've primed my face using the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. Now I'm going into my L'Oreal Lumi Cushion Foundation. I'm in the shade W4, and I'm just taking my Eco Tool sponge, stamping it all over my face in stamping motions. Now I'm taking my Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Aquacealer Concealer, and I'm just going to put like a very modest amount of concealer on underneath my eyes. I'm going to work, and I just want to keep it real. I don't wear that much makeup to work, so I'm just going to be true to myself and put on what I would typically do during any weekday. Now I'm going to be going into the brightening powder, and I'm using a smaller Morphe brush. This is an E48 brush, and I'm just stamping that underneath the eyes to brighten up the under eye and set the concealer we've just applied. Now taking the blurring powder, I'm grabbing a Morphe E53 brush, and I'm just stamping that all over the face, setting all my foundation. This is just to ensure that my foundation doesn't move all day, and yeah, just setting the face and giving that blurring effect. This is really what's going to give you that Snapchat filter effect to your face, again, because this is the blurring powder. This is the soft focus lens that we're creating in real life. Now taking the contour shade, I'm taking a big Japanese fluffy brush. I'm chiseling out the cheekbones, the jawline, and just bringing that down the neck so that our neck matches our faces, obviously, and chiseling out the other cheekbone, and then attempting to make my 5 head a 4 head. Now I'm going into the blush using a smaller Japanese brush, and I'm just going to stamp that over the apples of the cheeks just to give us some color and some life in our face. Well, my face, but you know, we're in this together. Now taking the Makeup Forever Excessive Lash Mascara, I'm just going to coat my lashes a little bit. Now I'm taking the bareMinerals matte lipstick. This is in the shade slay. I absolutely love this color. It is like the most beautiful pink shade, and this goes on kind of like a whip. It's like not, it's a very comfortable matte lipstick, and it lasts a really long time. And now taking the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray, I'm just gonna mist that all over my face. I'm giving myself a generous mist. It's like 90 degrees and like 85% humidity here. And here we go. I think my face looks super shiny. I look like I'm wearing a Snapchat filter, and it's natural looking. Like, it doesn't look like I'm wearing a ton of makeup. You can still see my freckles, but you can't really see my wrinkles, so that's a plus. And yeah. Now hopping into the Hourglass palette, I have the same foundation, concealer, everything on my face. I am taking the Radiant Light, and I'm just stamping that all over the face to set my face, and I'm using the Morphe E53. Now I'm taking the Incandescent Light. I'm taking that smaller Morphe E48 brush, and I am just setting my under eye with that incandescent lighting shade just to brighten it up and set the concealer. Now hopping into the last shade, this is the Dim Light shade, and I'm using the Morphe E3 brush. And this is the darkest shade of the palette, so I kind of like to use this as more of a bronzer to just give my face a little bit of color, so it's not so flat, a little bit more dimension. And I'm just, you know, applying it everywhere. I lost my Urban Decay setting spray while in Atlantic City for my sister's birthday, so I used the Mario Badescu facial spray. Now, this is the finished product. I think my skin looks really luminescent. Not as much dimension because, you know, this palette doesn't have the contour and the blush like the Becca BA Light palette, but I think it looks really good. I think I look super luminescent. Again, natural, but it really does blur out my fine lines and any imperfections that I might have. And excuse me, I look so tired. It is so early. Now let's dive into the 12-hour wear test. So 12 hours later, this is the Becca BA Light palette. So this is what my face looks like after a long work day. I would say it looks pretty good. I still look luminescent and I look like my skin is a little blurry, but I do look oily and tired. So I'm gonna take that blur powder and I'm just gonna take that and I'm gonna stamp that all over the face just to see how this product fixes itself. Because, you know, you use powder to help get rid of all that oil and all of that like extra shine. So I want to see how this product corrects itself after a long wear day. I did not touch up my face all day long. This is literally what my face looks like. 12 hours, didn't touch it since I applied it. So I'm going to take the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. This is a matte powder, and I'm just going to set the opposite side of my face. This is something that I would carry with me any day, every day, to get rid of any excess oil. So I wanted to see how the two compared. So this is the Essence side. It looks pretty good, I think. And then on the opposite side, this is the Becca correcting itself. Honestly, I think the translucent side looks way better. Hopping into the Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette. This is what it looks like 12 hours later. You know, I still look like I'm wearing a Snapchat filter. I do look a little oily though, so yeah. This is what it looks like. And don't mind my glasses imprints on my nose. I wear glasses to work, so that's what that's from if my nose looks a little weird. I'm taking that Radiant Light shade on my Morphe E53 brush and I'm just stamping the left side of my face. Taking the Essence Brighten Up, I'm going to use the same brush and just use it on the opposite side of my face to see how they compare. You already know the drill. We just did this. So stamping motions all over. This is the translucent powder side, the Essence side. I think it looks really, really good, actually. And then the ambient lighting side. I think this side looks really good as well, but I think if I had to choose which side looks better, I think the mattifying translucent powder side looks better. I think a matte translucent powder does a better job of setting both of these palettes. However, I do think the Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette does a better job of correcting itself than the Becca BA Light palette. There we go. Alright guys, and that is the full rundown on the two palettes. You got to see how I applied each of them. You got to see what they looked like after 12 hours of wear. And now I want you to just take a second, take a moment to yourself, gather your thoughts, and let's see if we agree on the two palettes when compared to one another. So I got my notes. I'm all ready to go. I wrote down a lot of things. Your girl can be like a little bit forgetful, but this week I'm really forgetful. So if you see me looking down, I apologize, but I just want to make sure I hit all the points that I wanted to come across. And again, it's super early in the morning. I'm rushing to get to work and get all this done, so apologies. Okay, let's start off with the Becca BA Light palette. Now this retails for $46. It is available at Sephora and Ulta. So after applying this, after wearing this, I have to say I really, really, really love this palette. Personally, I think this really gives you like that glow and Snapchat filter in real life. After wearing it for an entire day, I noticed that I thought it set my foundation really well each time I've used it. The only thing I will say about this palette is that when applying it, you need to be careful. Like if you put too much powder on, this palette can really cake, especially in oilier sections of your face. So for me, that is my T-zone. So if you saw the 12 hours later, like it didn't look that bad because that was the day, like I had already learned not to pack on the powder. So if you are taking your powder, and I take the blurring powder and put that all over my face, that's how I like to use this palette. I use a fluffier Morphe brush. If you dip it in like this and you get just like a little bit of powder, you can't even really see that much, and then tap off the excess and pat, 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 pat. Like 3 dips in here and a tap off and a pat, you should be fine. I think that's just the right amount of powder. For me, you should experiment with it. Like any makeup that you buy, you should really be doing what I'm doing. Like experiment it with it for a few weeks, figure out the best way that it works for you and your skin and your lifestyle. This is what I do here. So that's what works for me. I used the brightening powder to set my under eye. I would not use this to set your under eye. I felt like it really sat on the skin. It didn't really warm into my under eye. It kind of made my under eye look very like textured and patchy, and I was not a big fan. So I would use the brightening powder in your T-zone. So I would put it down, just like brightening up the center of the face to really bring it forward, but I would not use this to set the under eye. I found that the Hourglass palette was a little bit better to set the under eye, and to set it, I use the incandescent light. I actually set my under eye with this today. I think this does a better job. It doesn't show as many imperfections and doesn't really bring texture to your under eye skin. So that was one thing in comparison that I found. I will say that it comes in I think this is light to medium face palette, and then it comes to a medium to dark. For me, I think this palette is gonna be too dark for me in the winter. Like this blurring powder is just, works for me now because I'm tan, but in the winter months, like I am a pasty bitch. Like I am so pale. This would not look cute. Like I would kind of be bordering Oompa Loompa with this. So I will say, I don't think that this is like a one size fits all complexion palette. Like all those, this is light to medium. If you are super fair, I don't think this is gonna work for you. If you are medium, I think you're better off going with the medium to dark palette. And I honestly don't know how darker skin complexions would work with the dark to medium. I did look at some reviews, I did look at some YouTube videos, and like people of darker complexions like said that the only thing that really worked for them was the blush. So that is a negative for me. However, I will say I personally do really like this palette for right now. I'll get back to you in the winter when I probably hate it because it reminds me how pasty and pale I am and how it's freezing outside and I want a tan. So I went online and was thinking, how do they remedy this? Like this can't be a one size fits all complexion palette. And online it says for lighter tones, use the contour shade as an eyeshadow, and then use the blur powder as a warming bronzer, which, okay, I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do in the winter. I'm gonna have to use this as a shadow, and this is a contour, but I don't know, we'll see. We can test that out when I'm a little whiter, but I don't really know how that would work. And then it says for darker skin tones, now again, this is the light to medium. I do not have the medium to dark. Mix the contour with the blur as a warming bronzer where the sun would naturally hit the skin. So, I mean, yeah, mixing those two would make it darker, so that might work, but I don't know. So just know going into this, like these might not all work for you. I was just going to an Ulta or Sephora and trying out the palette in store. Moving right along to the Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette. I would say that this does set your foundation really, really well. It really does give a natural glow. It's not so much color added. Like I do use the dim light as like somewhat of a bronzer, and it does give a little bit of color to my complexion. But I would say overall, this is not as complex of a palette as the Becca BA light. Like, this gives you so many more options. Like, it gives you a contour and a blush and really helps you like build up that dimension in your face, whereas this one just gives you like an overall natural, beautiful complexion glow. And I think you can also apply the Hourglass palette heavier than you can apply the Becca BA Light palette. Like I said, this can get really cakey and really powdery looking if you apply too much. This one is so finely milled and so light. Also, I think that this could work with like any skin tone. So that's another thing. I think that this is more versatile if you're worried about your skin tone maybe not working and you want to try a light diffusing palette. I think this is the safer bet. However, this is like $20 more expensive than this one. All right, guys, so in conclusion, I would say that the Becca BA Light is way more bang for your buck. I think for $46, you're getting a blurring powder, a brightening powder, a contour powder, and a blush. I think it gives a lot more dimension to the face. I think that this does it for me. It looked the best after the 12-hour wear test, I think. What do you guys think? I would love to know what you think. Leave it down below in the comments. The Hourglass, I love this. This is a staple. This is top shelf. It will continue to be a top shelf. Personally, today, I am wearing what I think is the best combination of the two. So what I did today was I took the incandescent light and I use this to set my under eye and my T-zone, so really bringing the face forward. Like I said, I think this does a better job of setting the under eye. And then I just went in this one and did everything I normally did. I used the blurring powder all over my face, I contoured, I blushed, and then I used the brightening in my T-zone over the incandescent light, just not under my eyes. And then finally, what I really like to do with this palette is I will take my Hourglass brush. Now, I did not use this in the video because I wanted it to be fair and I wanted to use the same brushes for both palettes. I sweep it down all the shades, tap off the excess, and just like lightly dust my entire face. So that's just like last set to the face that I do. So that is what I did. That is what I'm wearing today. So if you like this combination, I am wearing both of the palettes to tribute to both of them, because while this is a this versus that video and I really do love the Becca palette, like I still really love the Hourglass palette as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up down below. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of my little Fortune Finds family, and hit the bell button. This way you get a notification every time I upload a video here on my YouTube channel. Leave me some love in the comments. Let me know which palette you guys think is better. Let me know if you own any of these palettes. Let me know like what you think. Do you agree with my thoughts? Do you agree with like which one looked better after the 12-hour wear test? Which one looked worse? Just like let me know down below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, Finders. Mwah.